prelude to a busy weekend of racing starts here on RaceSpot TV Friday night primetime. GT3s, more GT3s. It's the Blancpain Sprint Series here, live on iRacing Live after this. On the eve of Petit Le Mans, another series takes itself to Road Atlanta, USA to do battle over 40 minutes. Myself, Connery Maddock, and of course, as always, Jake Sperry are going to bring you the action here today. And Jake, we have a very busy weekend indeed. We have Petit Le Mans and VLN tomorrow, and then on Sunday we have World's Fastest Gamer as well as the Classic IndyCar Series, and not forgetting the 2K Skip Barber Series as well. It is an incredibly busy weekend for us.
Absolutely, and you wouldn't have it any other way on RaceSpot TV. Times though flying in at a very cold Road Atlanta here today, just 19 degrees on the track, 18 in the air. It is going to be very difficult for drivers in the early stages, but it's the 8 of Joseph Falgren who currently holds pole position right now. But of course, qualifying still underway, 8 minutes, 2 laps to get it done. We're about halfway through, and the number 2 machine I want to keep an eye out on, Vendaval Sim Racing, Juan E. Lopez is on a lap. Or will be next time?
He seems to go very slow through turn 5, so he's on a warm-up lap, shall we say, trying to get himself to start his lap. But this is a very stacked field. At the moment, we've got the likes of Dave Gielan, Juan E. Lopez, Alex Ocana, Jack Sedgwick, Miko Melica, as well as Roque Garcia, Xavier Sanchez, and also we got a small case of Morgan Morgrand as well, who's a quite accomplished driver in the FSR series. So let's see how he adjusts to the iRacing way of doing things. But he's setting a good time right now, good enough for P4 on the grid.
P4, his lap times are all done in the number 16 machine, so he'll have a little bit of work to do then, as I want to keep an eye on the number 1 of Dave Gielan, currently position number 6 in the Vendaval Sim Racing machine. Of course, moved away from INX Racing in the past year. I'll be looking to try and use all the might behind his machine to get himself going through 250 kilometers an hour before he'll get himself onto the brakes. 10A, left-hander, 10B, right-hander. So in through the left, a nice bit of curb on the right. Very tentative, though, is done from Dave Gielan, and that is lap over. He will not go any quicker.
No, he won't. And meanwhile, Juan E. Lopez just heads his way across the line to start his flying lap. And why don't you take us through a lap here, Jake?
Turn 1's always very difficult. Right-hander is going to be about just navigating through, holding as much momentum as you can. Small kink left at 2, in towards the right at 3, taking as much curb as you can. Now in through 4, left-hander, always going to be very difficult. Now through the S's, where you try and go as flat as you possibly can. Difficult in the machine that Juan E. Lopez decided to choose in the balance of performance. Now into turn 5, notorious for being incredibly difficult. You can see all over that exit curb and up into what is the exit runoff there at the end of 5. Now 90-degree right-hander, 6, followed by 7. They always lean you in. This one, though, spits you out here at 7. It's so easy to get it wrong. Now, this long straight. Alex Arana currently on pole position, 1:16.731. He's edged the 8 of Falgren out of that pole position. 8 was a small kick left. He's just gone through. There's a small kick right here of 9 where the club circuit joins with the full circuit. And then 10A, 10B once again. Always going to be very, very important on the brakes. Downhill, left-hander, gets it tucked up. All nice and calm through the left. All nice and calm for the right. Under Suzuki Bridge. Right of 11, right of 12. Runs to the line for Juani Lopez. And the timer is ticking. And it ticks down to 1:16.5. 2/10 clear of the field.
Yeah, fantastic pole position lap as it is right now for Juani Lopez. Not many other drivers out there on track. Dave Geelink is coming towards the chicane section here. Let's see if he can improve his time. We've also got Joseph Fulgren on his second qualifying lap as well. And let's see how this goes for these two drivers. Dave Geelink heads his way across the line. Does he improve? And nope, he's not on the lap, in fact. And actually, Fulgren will also not get his lap in either, as we have 5 seconds to go once the session takes over. And this will be your qualifying grid. It's going to be Juani Lopez with that fantastic pole position lap that we just saw, getting himself on towards the front spot on the grid. And it's going to be Alex Arana lining up right next to him. Row number 2 is Joseph Fulgren and Yannick Joker. Then it's going to be Morgan Morans, Jack Sedgwick, Dave Geelink, Miko Melika. Then it's going to be Rob Garcia, Xavier Sanchez, Francisco Verdasca, and Rivera. Then it's JB Maceda, Bradley Haley, Richard Gafenko, Javier Saiza, Marcus Furiel, Lee Belcher, Alex Novo, Saeed Jaromi, Mohamed Ramzi, Rafael Shrinde, and Kai Pringitz is going to be the last position on the grid right there. We had 4 drivers that did not manage to set themselves qualifying times, so they start right at the back of the grid as this grid starts to form.
Yeah, they certainly do here, and it's always going to be a very interesting race that you've got 40 minutes and the fuel tanks are cut in half, so there may be a chance at a pit stop here today, potentially not. Winds coming in though from the east, 11 kilometers an hour will play a bit of havoc when it comes to slipstreaming. There is going to be a slight differentiation when you go through the corners, and of course that one refuel will always be very, very important. And look at the balance of performance. McLaren on the front. McLaren's in the 3rd row as well. It is very diverse. Still got some Ferraris out there as well. And we know that prancing horse is always going to be something to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, exactly. It's 2 Ferraris on the front row, in fact. Then you've got McLaren, Mercedes, Audi getting themselves out there with the balance of power changes that they have had. And then a couple of Ferraris, then a huge bunch of Mercedes in the mid-pack here as well. There's a couple of BMWs dotted throughout the field as well, mainly at the back there. But we actually will have a full pace lap here, so that might be a blessing in disguise here because of the cold track temperatures. This gives them a chance to get some heat in.
It certainly does, and starting on cold tyres, where if you had that grid start, you wouldn't have that lap to warm everything up as the roof pace car on iRacing here decides to make its way for the pace lap that we've got. The issue is that when you start on those really cold tyres, you are instantly putting that heat into the tyre, and because you have that heat being pushed straight away into that tyre, it means that it makes life a lot more difficult for the tyre when it comes up to temperature quickly, and it means it's actually a little bit more slippery. When you have this lap to just sort of ease it up to temperature, it means that there's less differentiation, Connery, when it comes to, say, putting as much heat into the tyre. There's less difference between a standing start and a rolling start, so as such, you got let's get some words out here, a lot less chance of spinning.
Yeah, and no spinning is what we hope to see when it comes down towards turn number 1, and perhaps mainly coming up towards that little kink of 2 as well, as your field starts to head their way through the S's on the pace lap here. And you also have to consider on this pace lap, they are using a little bit more fuel than they would usually, so the pit window isn't going to be as wide as it once was, Jake.
No, it certainly isn't, and with only 40 minutes to play with, that's about 40, maybe 30 laps around here today. That's always going to be very difficult. You don't know when you come in, so I expect that window to be opening sometime around about lap 20. I think we're going to be starting to see vehicles come in, but as we always see, it's going to be a very difficult challenge here at Road Atlanta. This is only 40 minutes. Remember, they've got to do probably 12, 13 times that tomorrow. And a lot of these drivers are using this as the final preparation.
Yeah, they are, and well, tomorrow it's going to be the Petit Le Mans. We also involve the prototypes and the GTE machines in that race as well, which will be absolutely fantastic to see. 10 hours of Road Atlanta live on RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live. Don't forget, at the exact same time, you also have the VLN at the Nürburgring combined course as well. So it's going to be your choice which series you watch there, and it's fantastic to be able to give that choice as your drivers head down the hill now towards the 10A, 10B chicane. And then after that, the pace car will be pulling off to get this race started. It's quite a while into the pace lap here. Field is going to be under control of Juan Lopez as soon as they come under the Suzuki bridge here. And the pace car will dive down towards the lane. And Juan Lopez goes almost immediately. Green flag out here at Road Atlanta, and also side by side here, Josef Folgren and Janik Jolkea also heading their way side by side down in towards turn number 1. Also a little bit of door-to-door contact coming down into 1. Is also side by side behind Dave Geeling, dropping back through the field as Morgan Morand actually makes himself up a position. There's a hopeful dive there from Melica coming up in towards the turn number 2. King still not going to be able to make it as he heads side by side through the S's. This is not where you want to go side by side. A little bit of contact there coming into it, but Dave Geeling manages to keep that car from going into a spin as they head their way single file through 5.
Yeah, they certainly do. There was an issue right at the back of the field between Mohamed Ramsey and Rafael Trinidad, so already a little bit of contact that has gone on in the early stages, but still though, it has been a very good start. But everyone's got to remember, this is a 40-minute race. This is not, by any stretch of the imagination, what you would call a race where you can win it on the opening lap. You can certainly lose it, and that was certainly the case between Morgan Morand and also Mikko Melkula. So here comes the draft now coming into effect, not necessarily in the top 6, but keep your eyes on this one. Geeling side by side with Melkula, 3 wide, trying to get on the grass is Roque Garcia of Positive Sim Racing. He was all out of shape there, heading through that section. Huge lapse of concentration and lost the opportunity to gain 2 places there. Very lucky not to lose it any further. Look at 12, not going to work.
Nope, not going to work at all. And Roque Garcia driving like a man possessed right now, trying to gain positions early on in the race. He has another little look coming down into 1. Dave Geeling also has a look on Melica coming down into turn number 1, but neither of those moves decide to work themselves out, as there's a battle going on ahead of these guys as well between Jack Cedric and Morgan Morand, who's actually just dropped back 1 position on their qualifying time, has Morand. And, well, there's going to be drivers dotted down the field. Actually gained lots of positions on the start there. Lots of midfield actually gained 3 positions on the start there. That was to result with the incident involving the number 15 car, I believe, as Geeling and Melica head their way through the middle sector of turn 6 and 7 here. Still no door opening for Geeling though.
No, certainly no door opening, but look how far Morgan Morand has dropped off the back of Jack Sedgwick, though, on turn 5 alone. Got all out of shape, dropped himself about a second overall. Look at position number 2, though. Josef Falgren in the 8 against Alex Arana in the number 3 machine. On the brakes they go, and no position opportunity going to be given at this stage in time between Alex Arana and Josef Falgren. Falgren, though, thinking about it, having a look, not going to be working out for him at this moment in time, but it has been very well behaved in the early sections of this circuit, and there's not much that many drivers can do really to gain those positions. It is a thinking man circuit here, Connery. You have to wait for the opportunity to present itself. Falgren, again, just very happily just waiting in the wings, and a much wider line, a lot less of the curve being taken compared to Arana.
Yeah, and that McLaren is going to be struggling through these sorts of sections here. It really is a straight line speed car, and the Ferrari will exacerbate its gap over the McLaren when it comes to those sort of sections. But when it comes to this very, very long back straight here at Road Atlanta from turn 7 all the way down towards turn 10A, that is where the McLaren is going to come into its own. There's a little bit of entry oversteer there from getting on the curve for Josef Falgren. He's, as a result, not going to get quite the run he wanted coming out of turn number 7, but he will just sit there in the slipstream as I'm looking down the field. It's going to be very close between Melica and Dave Geeling. This is the number 5 and the number 1 heading down in towards turn number 10A. But the thing is, Melica also has the tail end of the draft of the car ahead. That's just keeping him in this.
Yeah, just a bout in this situation. So a lot of drivers thinking about waiting the early goings. There's still that pit stop that drivers are thinking about. JB Masada was trying to have a look on Rui Ferreira there just in front of him, was unable to make that happen. So still a lot of battling going on. In fact, to change the position as Bradley Haley of the Positive Sim Racing team gets past Richard Gafencu then for what is going to be position number 14 overall on circuit. So positions being made, and look at Verdasca now trying to get past Rui Ferreira. So Ferreira now has a massive bottleneck just in front of him. In fact, Ferreira making his way through on Verdasca. So Verdasca moving to turn number 1, easily done.
Yeah, and Verdasca actually just had to tap the brakes there coming up in towards turn number 2, and also stacked up Masida behind him. So very good heads-up driving for those drivers there as they head themselves through turn number 5 now. And will Verdasca sling one down the inside at turn number 6? Nope, he's not going to be close enough to make any sort of move coming down into there. But meanwhile, towards the front of your field, Alex Arana and Josef Fulgren still within touching distance, but you have to say that Arana has a very, very good first sector. Just allows him to pull away and negate the effect of the straight line speed, that advantage that McLaren has.
Yeah, it certainly does, and Alex Arana doing exactly what he needs to do in this situation. The only issue he's got, though, is by defending the way he does, he's actually losing out to Juani Lopez at the front of the field for Vendaval Sim Racing. He's got himself that gap right now stretched out to what is going to be 1.5 seconds as things stand. So 1.5 seconds to work with, not going to always be very good. Rui Ferreira again, though, under pressure. Look at Verdasca now, trying to go to the inside, defending. Masada then, opportunity on the outside to sling it the long way round, and he will do it the long way round. Great move by Masada. He might get 2 for 2 here. He's got the inside at turn 2, but not the guts and determination to make it happen. Well played, though, by JB Masada.
Well played indeed. This is some fantastic jostling for position just in the positions outside your top 10. P number 11, P number 12, and number 13. There's a decent run for most of your drivers coming through 5, but Masida getting the best of the runs of those drivers there, but still no opportunity for him to make his way down the inside at 6 as Almeida pushes a little bit wide there. Just got to be careful of that, and pushes wide again coming through turn number 7. This is the chance that Masida needs now. He's just going to sit there in the slipstream. He has enough tarmac to try and get this move done by turn number 10A as he pulls towards driver's right-hand side of the track. This will give him the outside line, at least for the first part of the 10A, 10B chicane here, but he might be clear just as they come towards the braking zone. As no, Ferrari does go very, very deep side-by-side through the chicane, but Mercedes still going to be there or not. Actually, Ferrari does manage to successfully defend that position. There's a couple of drivers behind you that could capitalize on any mistake that these drivers make, as Verdasca and Bradley Haley have now caught up right to the back of these guys because of their fighting through the chicane.
Yeah, 4-5 train now that we've got going on, and it's all stacked up behind Ferreira and Masada, who gets another great run actually coming out of turn number 1, unable to really capitalize on that opportunity. Look at Geelink, though, trying to go down the inside of Roque Garcia. He lost the position a couple of laps ago with a big mistake through 1. Dave Geelink, though, will have to stay behind, but look at how he's forcing Roque Garcia offline with the amount of pressure that he's applying to him right now. And Geelink, the Dutch driver, shall I say, right now, heading into 6, into 7, looks like he's got a real opportunity to make something happen. Same can be said for Morgan Moran. He's got Jack Sedgwick right in his sights.
Yeah, he does, as Dave Geelink's going to sit in the slipstream here of the Positive Sim Racing driver of Roque Garcia. Can he make the move down into turn number 10, as he's going to actually just going to get the inside line here for turn number 10, side-by-side ahead as well, as Dave Geelink is going to try and get the position over Roque Garcia, and he will get the position over Roque Garcia. And meanwhile, Morgan Moran also made the move over Jack Sedgwick in the exact same place.
And look at this, Masada side-by-side with Verdasca. He ran very wide out of 10B, so Verdasca down to the inside, steals 1. That's completely offline there for Masada. Here comes Bradley Haley having an opportunity. No, that's not going to work. So there is moves 4 done in the space of about 2 corners that we have just seen. And in front of that, Fulgren versus Arana still heating up. 1.8 seconds to the leader, but look at how Fulgren is just getting that little bit closer every single time. It was about 0.4 of a second, now it's 0.3 of a second. You feel that if there's a good run through this corner, as Arana gets all sorts of twitchy through 6, it might be that Josef Fulgren has the greatest opportunity that he's had in a while, but look at the acceleration off the corner from the Ferrari.
Yeah, and it also didn't help Josef Fulgren's case that he got a little bit of a slide coming through the apex of turn number 7, and that's maybe going to mean that the opportunity isn't there coming down in towards 10A. It's going to be close, but I don't think he's going to lunge one down the inside. It'll be a very, very brave move indeed, but instead he just decides to follow in behind and just steadily work at that gap. He was 1/10 of a second faster that last time by. I'd hazard a guess he's probably a 1/10 of a second faster again this time by. We'll just have to see. It's going to be a 1:17.3 for Arana, 1:17.2. I was exactly right, but still no opportunity for Fulgren as he goes deep into turn number 1. Almost contact between the two cars. They're going to head side by side off the corner, up towards 2, up towards 3, and the opportunity is going to go begging for Fulgren.
It is, but it's only one opportunity. It's lap 8 of the event. They're only heading about 9 minutes into this one, so they haven't had too long to really think about it. They've still got about 3/4 of this race still to go, so a lot of time then to be working on trying to make the moves when and as they happen. So still a lot can happen in this stage, but when you're P2, P3, you've got the gaps either side of you. It's the only real battle that they have. They need to start focusing here on whether they can get the race victory or not. If that isn't the case, they got to work out, do I want a podium or do I want to be out of this event? You've got to make a clean and concise move, and that's the only crucial factor that you'll have.
Fulgren yet again oversteer coming through the apex of turn number 7. You have to think if he sorts out that issue and he's close enough to make a move down into turn number 10, but yet again it's the case of he's not going to be there by the chicane because of that little mistake coming through the middle of the corner. Oversteer again coming off the chicane. That must be a very, very loose setup he has in that McLaren.
Yes, and that McLaren isn't really geared for corners, it's geared for top speed, and that's the big issue that Josef Fulgren is going to have, because he needs to use all the top speed available in that McLaren to get himself down towards 10A to make that move the only real overtaking opportunity on the circuit. But by the same point, when he gets to this section here, this opening section of the lap, that McLaren is going to be screaming out for a bit of help in comparison to the Ferrari, which just seems a lot more bloody. And yes, all over the curb there was Josef Fulgren. He got a very, very lucky moment there heading into the S's section. A wiggle over the curbs, gets away with it just about, but look at how he's dropped about 4/10 of a second because of it.
Yeah, and because of that, I get the sense that he's pushing a little bit too hard for this stage in the race. We've still got the vast majority of this race to go. He doesn't need to push this hard. As looking back through the field now, since that battle had spread out, there's a bit of a train of cars going on behind Morand here. We've got Jack Cedric and Melkila as well as Dave Geelink, but they're all kind of separated out, so no moves going to be made there in that particular battle. But there's also a train for P number 11 still between Ferrari, Masida, Vidaska, Haley, and Gafencu as well, trying to hang on.
Yeah, it certainly is, and right now it's just a case of the slipstream just negating everyone else's opportunity to make that move, so it all stands between Ferreira and also Masida to try and get the moves done. And right now it seems that JB Masida, who's already got through on the driver of Vidaska, needs to just keep calm through turn number 1 and make something happen. It's a great run though through the final corner that he's going to get. Maybe an opportunity coming out of one. He thinks about it. He's going to set it all up on the exit. Again, defensive it was from Rui Ferreira. Side by side they'll go. Long way around from Masida, who hits twice on the brakes and sends one down to the inside and shoves the man out to dry on the exit, and they keep it together somehow. So into 4, now into the S's. He steals one. Very, very well played from Masida, and he checks up the entire train.
Yeah, and that was Ferrari just backing out of going side by side through the S's. That is exactly not what you want to do, and it'll stack up everyone behind them and make it much more likely that they'll get themselves into an incident. So Ferrari just had to take that one on the chin, just let Masida go. But that doesn't mean let Masida get away, because he does have the slipstream now.
Yeah, he certainly does have the slipstream. That's going to be very crucial here towards 10A, 10B. Could be a thing that Masida may not get that opportunity to break away as he'd hoped. They've already dropped back 5 seconds at least from Xavier Sanchez in the 7 Iberica Racing Team machine. Not able to make the move though is Ferreira on the brakes into 10A, but he'll run the coattails about as close as a pickpocket would as he tries to get himself under Suzuki Bridge. So not able to make that move just yet, and he'll still have to keep on playing the waiting game right now. But something I am keeping an eye out on is that Fulgren is dropping away and is now 9/10 of a second.
And he's around.
Oh my word, out, and that's Fulgren. Oh my goodness, up and over. You would not believe that one, Connery. if you saw it. And we said about how that McLaren was always going to be so difficult through that section. He gets himself over the curb, which unsettles the vehicle as it's a quick change of direction. He was a little bit over the curb at the start of the S's and then backwards into a very unforgiving concrete wall.
Yeah, that McLaren was looking very twitchy all race so far now. I think it was only a matter of time that something like that would happen, as he also got a slide coming through turn number 5 on the last lap as well. So the tires starting to go away, the setup not being quite there for Volgren, and he ends his day upside down.
I'm surprised actually that the tyres would go away in that situation, Connery, because these drivers, they go an hour, they double stint these tyres quite a bit. I wouldn't expect tyres to go away after 12 minutes of racing. Far from it, in fact. I think it's just a case of being incredibly unsettled with how the vehicle was reacting, and as such, he just managed to lose it, and that's the way it goes. But Verdasca's already got through on Ferreira right now, but that was earlier on in the lap. Haley now looking to bump the driver of Rui Ferreira down the train, and you can see just how Ferreira's struggling.
Yeah, he really is. And meanwhile, this trio of Mercedes, Verdasca, and Ferrari head their way through turn number 1. And, well, it's just going to be a status quo heading through turn number 2 and turn number 3 as well. As we have a look at the biggest movers so far in this race, and it is going to be, in fact, the driver of Rafael Tinade at the back of the field there in P number 17, started P number 22, that's second from last in the grid, and he's just picked up positions just here and there with people having incidents, and that is sometimes just what you have to do, Jake.
Yeah, it certainly is. Rafael Trinidad doing a very good job. But look at Dave Geelink here in the number 1 machine. He needs to score some points. You could argue for iRacing safety rating. He did a race where he finished 7th an hour ago, and he actually lost safety rating points, such as how high his iRacing is. And he sends one down the inside of Miko Melkler, and the gym team around the outside makes it happen. But crucially enough, though, Dave Geelink didn't do that cleanly, and because he couldn't do it cleanly, look at that, he's lost the back of Jack Sedgwick and will have no draft to work with.
Yeah, so this time it has to be made up now on track. But meanwhile, Jack Sedgwick does have the draft help from Morand in front of him. So that's just going to keep that gap extended somewhat over the next couple of laps. But let's just see what Dave Geelink can do. He is the highest iRacing driver in this field with that number 1 machine. So we'll see what happens there. But again, this battle for P number 11 still raging on as it is right now. And a little bit of weaving there coming down in towards turn number 2, turn number 3, and Verdasca has actually just gone quite a bit ahead. Is there something wrong with Bradley Haley there? No, in fact, that was actually Ferrari just having a couple of issues there, I believe, Jake.
Yeah, I believe they're of the technical variety, and as such, like an engine blowing up, that's day done, I think, for Rui Ferreira, and you will be very upset about that if you are in that situation. But nevertheless, the race continues on lap 13 of the event, and it's very much 2-tier as things stand. And in fact, that's Bradley Haley going off there at turn number 7, gets himself through the corner, all over the curb, and has a massive slide trying to apply the power back down again, really struggling in that Mercedes.
That's taking too much curb there. The car wasn't settled, trying to get the power down, and it just does not want to do it. And actually, it avoids the concrete barrier and avoids turning that car completely around. And we're having a look at the number 18 and number 17 right now. This is Gavenku versus Caesar. This is for positions down through the field, P number 14 as it is right now. And it was Caesar having the advantage that last time by in terms of lap time, but that advantage switches this time to Gavenku. He's 1/10 faster.
1/10 of a second faster is certainly going to be very interesting to see. So Gavenku needs to run for the hills. The gap half a second between them, but missing an apex there at turn number 2 is certainly not, or turn number 3 shall I say, is certainly not going to help your stress levels at all. So Gavenku getting a little bit aggressive here with the curves, missing a few, hitting a few, and again very aggressive at turn number 5. You can't be too aggressive there. You have to respect the corner, but at the same time attack it, which makes it almost impossible, Connery, to get around turn 5.
Yep, and that's a place where we see lots and lots of incidents. Indeed, I think it was actually, yeah, it's going to be Dave Geelink trying for an opportunity over Jack Sedgwick here, side by side down into turn number 10. Sedgwick will have the inside line for the first apex and will get that position successfully defended for now. But I'm just going to go back to talk about turn number 5. It's a place where we've seen lots and lots of incidents over the years, especially in that Grand Prix Series race we commentated, Jake. It just seemed to be a trouble spot for everyone. It
certainly did, but I want to keep an eye actually on Geelink's time. He did a 1:16.8 the lap before getting to Jack Sedgwick. Did a 1:17.5 that time by getting onto the rear. So there is pace in that fender valve number 1. It's just a case of unlocking it here for Dave Geelink, who has been sat trying to save fuel, I think, in the early goings of this event. And now with Jack Sedgwick in front, who was no slouch, mind you, at the Nürburgring, you can see a big wiggle through turn number 5, meaning that he's going to be under pressure from Geelink in towards turn number 6. Jack Sedgwick is no slouch as a driver. He is very dependable when it comes to INX Racing and what he understands to be that INX Racing red machine that did so well in the Blancpain Championships. But you can see how Dave Geelink just needs to find the best thing. It's INX against ex-INX right now, and I think Dave Geelink wants to prove a point.
I believe he does, as well, as he's going to be closing in the slipstream. But will he be close enough down into turn number 10? Defensive line already for Jack Sedgwick, trying to take the inside line for the chicane, but it turns out he didn't really need to do anything because he was already ahead in the braking zone there. And well, it's going to be INX versus Ben Neval. Maybe we'll see that tomorrow.
Maybe we will, but Jack Sedgwick, a little bit of Indiana Jones and defender of the lost corner there, Connery. Not much that he needed to do to defend. There was no chance of a move being made by Dave Geelink, so he'll very happily sit and wait. But he's losing the back of Morgan Morand right now in 4th position. 1.5 seconds again now, the gap it is between a Dave Geelink vehicle battle and a machine in front. But Morgan Morand, though, he's trying to close down Gianni Jokela right now, just in front in the 10. That's 1.6 seconds. That can very easily be eaten up with one mistake, and all these drivers hoping that they don't make mistakes. Juani Lopez, though, traffic in front of him. Alex Novo, Kai Prignitz, shall I say, just in front, having their own scraps side by side. The pair of them go to 10A, 10B.
Yeah, meanwhile, Dave Geelink going to set up the run coming through turn number 7, but the run does go to Jack Sedgwick, but that's not going to be enough to start to fend off a move as it is right now, because Dave Geelink just sitting in that slipstream. He was closer than he was last time. Will we see another early defensive move here from Jack Sedgwick? He's going to stay driver's left-hand side. The door is open there for Dave Geelink to go down the outside, just down the inside, just before the braking zone here, but again, it's going to be position defended for Jack Sedgwick. A good run off of turn 7 helped him.
Certainly did, but it's the run out of 12 that they're going to need to get absolutely perfect. And well, Dave Geelink gets a very good run, runs a little bit wide though on the exit, still carries the momentum towards 1, thinks about it at 1/10 of a second behind, can't make the move and stays pretty much nose to tail as close as you can possibly be. You call that tailgating on the roads, but he still manages to make it look very, very beautiful. And look at the way that was trail braking there from Jack Sedgwick. Just lend the car to the right to just flick it around the left, and as such he gained a 10th through that section.
Yeah, just letting the car do all the work right now, and there's not much Dave Geelink can do anything about right now. Cedric, again, a couple of drivers like to run a little bit wide coming through turn number 5 to try and maximize their run down towards turn number 6, and another little bit of a tailgating move for Geelink. That's what he likes to do coming down into the braking zone. He doesn't want to take an alternate line. That is slower. As another good run for Jack Sedgwick, and well, how many times does he have to do that before he actually, how many times does Dave Geelink have to see Jack Sedgwick get a good run off the corner before he has any opportunity coming down into turn number 10? I don't think it's going to happen this time, even though the closing speed is very, very good for Geelink. But meanwhile, behind these guys, couple of tenths of a second a lap, catching was Melkler as he gets a little bit of a slide through turn number 10. So this may become a 3-car fight in the not too distant future.
And as every fan knows in racing terms here on RaceSpot TV, everybody loves Jim. So Miko Melkler will have the power of the fans for support as he looks to try and make his way back through the field. Started 8th, now up into 7th, thinks about 6th and 5th in front of him as maybe a very good opportunity to make something happen as they head through turn 3, now turn 4 through the left-hander and getting onto this SS section, down the hill, back up it again, in towards turn number 5, and Sedgwick now, little bit of a wider line, opens up the corner on the exit, gets all over the curb. Geelink there within 1/10 of a second. There was no chance to make the move down the inside at 5. You can never, ever do that, but again, just sitting, waiting, hoping that the move's going to happen. Again, check the run here out of 7 that Jack Sedgwick's going to get. He actually holds up Dave Geelink through the middle of the corner to get as good a run as possible on the exit, and that's enough to give him 2/10, but 2/10, that's not going to work, Connery. He's got a chance now, this Geelink.
Yeah, closest he has been for the past couple of laps. Here comes the run for Dave Geelink. Yet another defensive inside line for Jack Sedgwick as Geelink has to make his way around the outside, but he backs out of it. He's not going to be able to get this move done. And you have to think now that Dave Geelink might come down on towards the lane. The pit window is open to get themselves toward the end of this race. It may be advantageous for Geelink to head down towards the lane.
it may be in this situation, if you go a couple of laps early, you'll get the benefit then of using up all the fuel. You'll get yourself a set number, you'll put that much in, and you'll hope to just drive that machine away as quickly as you can. And I think Dave Geelink is hoping that he makes the move, and I think the moment he does make that move, Jack Sedgwick is diving down onto lane because he doesn't look comfortable right now on that race setup that he's got here, being harassed by Dave Geelink and Mikko Melkala just behind. They all want to be in this scrap, they all want to be working hard, but at the same point, Dave Geelink is doing a lot, using all that experience that he has built up over the years, trying to challenge Jack Sedgwick and show him what a racing driver and a racing battle is all about in terms of attrition. Again, poor run out to the exit for Geelink.
Yeah, and that's the issue that he has to sort out if he has any good chance at overtaking Jack Sedgwick as it stands right now. And you have to also think, does he come down towards the lane this time? Because you have to feel that he's getting held up a little bit. You saw his pace in clear air just before he caught up to the back of Jack Sedgwick. Is it worth coming down on towards the lane just to get some clear air?
That may be something that you start considering in this situation. When do I dive down onto the lane? None of your top four go in, but Dave Geelink will be the first, and it's such a difficult pit road because you're always turning, trying to hit the marker cone and slowing it down. He hits it absolutely to perfection. Geelink, the first to blink then of all your leaders.
Yeah, I'm not entirely surprised by that because he was getting so held up so much by Jack Sedgwick, just not able to find any way by that Team Inox Racing car. So he's going to get his way down on towards lane, get that fuel up towards the end of the race as well. And then when Jack Sedgwick comes in, we'll see where he falls out.
We certainly will. So looking at that driver in pit road, number one, Dave Geelink, out and away he goes. And look at how crucial this is. He's got clean air. Marcos Furiel behind him in the 12. In front of him a mile away is Javier Cesar. So he's in between 12th and 13th with no real worries at all in terms of where he is. So it's clean air for Jack Sedgwick if he decides it. They round the traffic of Kai Prignitz just in front, so that was a good place for them to actually catch that lap traffic for Jack Sedgwick. But that's very crucial here. It's about when do you dive down onto that lane, and at the moment, again, leaders deciding it's not the time, it's not the time, it's not the time. No cover though from Jack Sedgwick, no cover from Mikko Melkala.
Yeah, exactly. So we can expect, if Dave Geelink has had very good outlaps here, that he will be ahead when it comes towards Jack Sedgwick and Melkala's pit stops. But, well, we'll just have to wait to see if that is the case. Meanwhile, still, well, one of the closest battles on track right now, apart from Jack Sedgwick and Mikko Melkala, is the one between the 11 and the 13 of Mercedes and Vergaska. And it feels like these guys have been battling throughout this entire race. The gap stands at a couple of tenths of a second right now, but with pit stops, that could all change.
Certainly can. It just takes one mistake to hit the inside retaining wall of pit wall. It takes one mistake just to miss your box by a little bit further, as American pit stalls normally do. They have a bit of concrete when you get down onto the lane. It's different braking surfaces, different braking distances that you always have to be so careful about when you get yourself onto pit road. So a lot which you have to negotiate here at the circuit of what is going to be Road Atlanta. And although it's a small circuit, it will always be the most difficult circuit possible in terms of racing. In comes Alex Arana, in comes Juani Lopez. So 1 and 2 on the lane. Yanni Jokela decides to stay in. Morgan Moran goes out, and Sedgwick almost missing pit road there, Connery.
Yeah, that was a very last-minute decision there for Jack Sedgwick to head his way down on towards the lane. Maybe he got the memo from the spotter that the leader was pitting, so it was very, very late. And I wonder if he has to have a penalty for that one. The yellow cones are right at the, well, not at the beginning of pit entry, but where the concrete retaining wall starts. So I think he should be okay. But, well, let's see if he has to save a 15-second penalty for that one. Xavier Sanchez also bringing his way down towards the lane. Javier Cesar as well. And now where does Dave Geelink file out? He's coming through turn number 1 right now. He's ahead of Jack Sedgwick, ahead of Melika. And, well, that's going to be positions gained there for... And it's going to actually be a penalty for Sedgwick. He is spending lots of time down on the lane there. And finally, he's off and away.
That's unsafe pit entry there, actually, I think, for Jack Sedgwick, because you look at the way he got in, you've got to stay on that line. If you're in that grass, that's an unsafe pit entry because you are putting another driver at danger in that situation. And of course, iRacing is law. You cannot say anything too much about it. Mika Melkula also stayed out, but in comes Morgan Moran there very tentatively. He will get himself onto lane in through the left, a double take as he gets onto it. And look how early he hits the brakes. He's cost himself about 3 seconds just by that alone. And there's inexperience at hand from Morgan Moran.
Yep, exactly. Having a couple of issues getting his way down on towards the lane. As actually Miko Melkula actually bringing his car down this time by, instead of last time, by JB Masida and Vidaska as well. That other battle that we were watching, they both head their way down on towards pit lane as well, as that is going to be the entire field have headed their way down on towards the lane at least once during this race. And we have one scheduled stop as the two cars ahead just get themselves off the way. Melika and the car actually side by side coming off pit road. Here comes Dave Geeling just ahead of Melkula there. That was very, very close indeed. And Morgan Mogran is the big loser from this.
Yeah, he certainly is. I think he's taking more fuel than everyone else. Mika Melkula ahead, Geeling ahead. And remember, Dave Geeling, he jumped everyone by firstly doing some good stops, but actually having short stops than others. They get around the traffic, then he'll try to lead Belcher. So now we got a big battle on our hands between Moran, Melkula and Geeling here. I told you, it all changes coming down onto pit road, and Morgan Moran, big loser out of all of it here. So everyone's got to be careful. And if you want any more of an advantage, it was 2.5 seconds across the line between Melkula and Moran. Now it's about 0.6 of a second the other way.
And that is why you should practice your pit entries, folks. No matter if you're a road racer or an oval racer, they are very, very important, especially with tracks with tricky pit entries. Here comes Melkula down towards the outside of turn number 10A on Dave Geeling, forcing Geeling to brake a little bit later than he perhaps would expect, but he manages to make the apex here. And also Morant, he's going to be right on the back of the number 5 machine now.
Yeah, he certainly is, as they all look to try and make their ways through. Gap at the front, 8.1 now between Juani Lopez and Alex Arana, but it's the battle going on, P4, 5, 6, between Geeling, Melkula and Moran, as they all look to try and make those final charges on the run to 40 minutes. Under 10 minutes to go then in this race, so it is do or die time. Behind that, Roque Garcia versus Javier Sanchez. It's an all-Spanish affair as they head themselves in towards the S's section, and there are some great battles to be had between now and the end.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see how these battles play out at the end of this race, as this is the battle for here number 4 between Geeling, Melkula and Moran. It's going to be Benelux versus Finland versus what is going to be France there as they head their way out of turn number 7. No opportunities for any of the drivers coming through there, as I'm seeing a car try and limp their way around the track. That's Lee Belcher one lap down with a severely damaged Ferrari there. Hopefully they don't get in the way of any of your lead lap runners. Speaking of, Garcia and Sanchez getting closer and closer.
Yeah, certainly are in this situation. Roque Garcia, Javier Sanchez, both of them hoping that they can get themselves past as quickly as they can in the situation, but no position change. Look at how Geeling, though, is pulling away from everybody else right now, and in comparison to actually Janne Jokela, I think there's a podium at stake here. 1.9 seconds behind, 0.6 of a second a lap quicker that last time by. Jokela's got to be worried here right now, and I think all the other drivers here, Melkula and Moran, will be hoping to try and find themselves a battle here and try and just make that one position or save that one position, because it's a massive scrap right now when Geeling has just got phasers lit.
Yeah, his pace is absolutely blistering in the clear air, which is why he appeared early to try and get some clear air to get the jump over the likes of Cedric and Melkula, and now he has a chance at getting on towards the final step of the podium as Morand and Melkula head their way very close through turn number 7, but the run will go towards Melkula. What's happening with the battle between Roque Garcia and Javier Sanchez? They're heading away through turn number 7 as well, and Garcia again going to get a very good run off the corner.
Yeah, he certainly is. So Roque Garcia will probably hold off Javier Sanchez in this situation. The Frenchman Morgan Moran then hoping to get down the inside of Melkula. No, he'll have to wait again. But of course, time is of the essence. You're running out of opportunities to make something happen. And we've had a few retirements here in this event already. We've had the likes of Sai Jerome, Mohamed Ramsey, Falgren, Rui Ferreira, all out of this event. And also Kai Prignitz, 3 laps down. But something interesting about Morgan Moran is the fact that he is basically or shall we say, the antithesis to Bono House. We know how good Bono House is. He's up there second in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, world's fastest gamer seat. This was the man challenging him back before we even knew him here on iRacing. So Morgan Moran, twice a runner-up to Bono House. You feel that Morgan Moran has a bit of pedigree about him.
Yeah, exactly. Coming second to Bono House is no small feat, shall we say, and well, I don't think anyone would mind coming second to him during the course of a race, but Moran's currently looking at the Finnish driver of Melkla still, but again, it seems to be the case here. If you want to defend a passing move, just get a good run out of turn number 7, you're pretty much covered.
Exactly, there's not too much difference here, especially with the fact that the slipstream doesn't do as much as it did, say, about a year ago, so you've got to be careful about when you make that move and how you do it. Morgan Moran closing in, again, not close enough here compared to Mikko Melkla, who is no slouch, mind you. He's a master of going late on the fuel strategy and knowing when to make the moves, but a little bit twitchy coming out of the 10 into 11 and 12. And Morgan Moran here, if he just hooks up this finish, which I think he does, he may have a chance into 1 here. Defensive line taken by Mikko Melkla. Set up the run around the outside, maybe. Look for the cutback, maybe here, Morgan Moran. And I think Morgan's going to try around the outside. No, not going to happen inside for 3 because he just didn't have enough to get himself alongside. It's so difficult, that braking zone.
Very difficult indeed, and you also have to consider that these guys will be coming up on lap traffic in the form of Alex Novo heading their way through turn number 5 now. I think they're going to get lucky. They're going to catch the lap traffic when it comes towards this very long back straight at Road Atlanta, so I don't think it'll cause them too much of an issue. As meanwhile, Dave Geelink now right on the back of Jokela as they head their way through turn number 7. Geelink is close. He has the slipstream here, and he is going to maybe have an opportunity coming down into turn 10A, 10B. We will just have to see what does Jokela do. Does he go for the early defensive inside line for the first apex of the chicane? He does go towards the inside line, but again, it's going to not really be needed there because Geelink didn't go very deep on the brakes, didn't challenge for the position as they head their way under the Suzuki Brits now, and Geelink is going to set himself up for the run out of the final corner here, or at least try to. He's going to almost push a little bit wide there. Good job keeping that on the track. He has the run down in towards turn number 1, down towards the inside for P number 3, Dave Geelink versus Johnny Jolika. Jolika has it around the outside. He has the inside line for 2, but he doesn't have the inside line for 3. That goes to Dave Geelink, but almost successfully defended. Still side by side as they head their way through the S's now for the Venval sim racing driver, and he gets himself down towards the inside of the first apex, gets the car slowed down as well, and that is Geelink up into P number 3.
That is masterful from Dave Geelink, and anyone who thought that Dave Geelink, after going missing after Inex Racing, thought that he's had it, just watch this again, because that is just masterclass overtaking from Dave Geelink, and you will not find a better overtake in a month of Sundays. But look at this now, Morgan Moran all over the back of Mikko Melkla. Is it going to be anything you can do? I can do better. We'll get a replay after that, or we'll get one up right now showing just how things happen. But right now, let's look at things live, because look at this. Moran, within a 1/10 of a second, needs to send one down the inside. Melkla thinks about going defensive for Jim. There's the dummy thrown by Morgan Moran, who shoves one down to the inside, tries it, and stuck on the outside. He still holds on, and they rub doors together still on the outside, and he's being hung out to dry. And Moran will be frustrated at the fact that Melkla was absolutely stone cold ruthless.
Yeah, that was more like touring car stuff rather than GT3 racing coming towards the end of that lap here. And, well, Morgan Moran has to do it all again. That was so close to getting that pass done over the Finnish driver ahead of him. But he's still going to have an opportunity. He's still following right on towards the back bumper, coming through the S's section right now. And, well, is it going to be another case of who gets to run out of turn number 7? As there's struggling a little bit with the traction. Was Moran's coming through turn number 5. That's not going to give him the run down towards turn number 6, as he's a little bit far back right now. 2 good apexes here, and he could have a chance coming down into turn 10A as he's overcooked the entry a little bit of a slide for Melkla as well, and it's going to be equalized runs coming off the corner.
Equalised runs, but we know now how defensive Melkla can be, and Morgan Moran, if there is an opportunity, he will go and take it, and that's what everyone's worried about, because he did try to throw the Schumacher dummy, feign right to go left. He thinks about it. He goes deep again the second time at 10A. Round the outside at 10B, you've got to try and do it, Morgan. And this time he gets a bit more room, and it's a poor run from Mikko Melkala. And finally, he redeems himself after the last lap, and that was a lot easier than he thought it would have been. Melkala will have a chance back potentially into turn number 1, but he's not going to be close enough to do it. Great play by Morgan Moran.
Yeah, if you're Melkala now, you have to hope that the lap traffic gets in the way of what is going to be Morgan Moran right now, but that will just be actually the lap traffic is coming through turn number 5 right now. Janne Jokia is actually just going to get behind that traffic right now.
Big off for Mikko Melkala at turn number 5. Actually, at the S's section, he just gets himself a little bit wide, snap oversteer, turns around, same place that Falgren went off. He's lucky he hasn't caught Alex Novo up in the moment. Melkala clips the back of the barriers, and that is a shame for the Jim Racing machine. It allows Sanchez and Garcia to +1.
Yeah, he was looking so competitive as well, even though he did lose the position to Morand, and it's a very similar instance to what we saw just at the start of this race. In fact, coming through the S section, the traction just broke away there, just got on the curb, and then after almost at the second apex of the S's there, the car just absolutely did not want to turn left there and just spun right around, and there's nothing Melkala could have really done about that one, as it is going to be the last lap here for your driver. Zuani Lopez, 9.9 seconds is the gap between himself and P number 2, Alex Arana. So it's going to be a relatively comfortable run for him towards the end of this race. But meanwhile, the closest battle on track right now coming onto the final lap is going to be Roque Garcia and Xavier Sanchez, heading their way up in towards turn number 3. Turn number 3 right now, heading into the S's section, and it's going to have to be maybe a last lap dive down the inside at turn number 10 for Xavier Sanchez to try and gain the position over the positive sim racing driver ahead of him. But we all just have to see when that happens, as meanwhile Wani Lopez heading his way down towards turn number 10 to turn number 10B, and well, it has been a very comfortable race for him indeed, led from the front, and he's going to head his way under the Suzuki bridge, past pit entry, past the final turn, and Wani Lopez will win in the Blancpain Sprint Series here, and it's going to be Roque Garcia and Xavier Sanchez. Not close enough, I don't think, to have a battle in the dying stages of this race coming down in towards turn number 10A. It's going to be a hopeful dive for Xavier Sanchez, not close enough. You saw what he was thinking, but he wasn't able to make it work. Heading their way under the Suzuki bridge is going to be Alex Arana and Dave Gielink finishing out the podium positions, and then Roque Garcia going to get P number 6 over Xavier Sanchez, P number 7 at the end.
You couldn't have asked for much better racing. Here comes Mikko Melkala, though, in the 5, and opportunity went away for tooth and nail. Left everything on the circuit against Morgan Moran and showed the new boy, yes, us guys, we want to make sure that you have that big old fight in you. But that was a great race at the front, especially in the middle of the pack as well. There was some great battling early on. A Blancpain Sprint Series, this is why we had 90-minute races this season in Blancpain, because these short races, these short stints, they prove that they have some absolutely sensational battles when you get right down to the thick of it, Connery.
Yeah, and we did see that in abundance today. As a couple of your drivers come across the line, we will head our way to the official race results. Going to be Wani Lopez coming away with the win by 11.1 seconds at the front of the field. A comfortable day for him, and he secures the win. It's going to be Alex Arana on the second step, and Dave Gielink, fantastic drive for him from qualifying 7th, gets himself onto the final step of the podium. A couple of great battles on the way to doing that as well. Then it's going to be P number 4, Janne Jokia. Morgan Moran also getting himself P number 5. That's exactly where he started. Roque Garcia gaining a couple of positions to get himself into 6th place. Xavier Sanchez will pick up P number 7. Mikko Melkala, even with that huge incident at the end there, still manages to get himself 8th place, which again is exactly where he started. Then it's going to be GB Masida, P number 9. Then rounding out your top 10, it is going to be Francisco Verdasca. Then outside the top 10, it's going to be Bradley Haley, Javier Saiza, Marcos Furiel, Richard Kafenku, Rafael Trinidad, Alex Novo, Lee Belcher, Jack Cedric, and a couple of drivers that sadly did not finish this race. All were multiple laps down. Kai Prignitz, Rui Ferreira, Joseph Folgren, Mohamed Ramsey, and Saeed Zaromi will round out the rest of your field. We're going to head towards a quick commercial break here, but after that, it's going to be the post-race show. Join us for that. Well, after what was a fantastic race here at Road Atlanta, it's going to be the post-race show with me, Connery Maddock, and Jake Sperry as well. And you have to say, it was a very, very good day for Vanderval Sim Racing, getting themselves a double podium, the race win with Melanie Lopez, and third place with Dave Geelink as well. You have to say, Jake, they're going to be very, very comfortable heading into tomorrow.
I think they will, and Vanderval Sim Racing have proven that whenever they want to go and get something, they normally will, and this season has been fantastic for them, and underratedly fantastic, and I think they don't get enough credit for the work they actually put in behind the scenes. You talk about the 12 hours of Sebring that they won, second place at the 24 hours of the Nürburgring. You talk about the work that they put in, getting themselves to the lead at the 6 hours of Watkins Glen. And then you talk about the fact of VLN, they got robbed with 4 seconds to go before winning the next VLN. I think Vanderval Sim Racing are having the most beautiful season that I don't think they anticipated at the start of this year.
Yeah, I think they're one of those teams, like, if I had a list of the most improved teams over the course of me actually doing these iRacing broadcasts, Vanderval Sim Racing will definitely be at least near the top of that list. It's amazing how far they've come, and also their drivers, how far they've come. We've had Pani Lopez doing some great things recently, and getting themselves Dave Geelink as well. That's a fantastic person they picked up there. So the future is very, very bright for Vanderval Sim Racing, and they just need race wins, championship wins under their belt now.
They certainly do. They've got ways to go in terms of Blancpain, which will be their next big proving ground that they've got to work out and get correct. But as always with any season, it's about what vehicle you choose. And you have to say, when they had the BMW, which hasn't looked very good all year at all, Juani Lopez has made wonders out of that vehicle. The entire team has done very well to get behind them. And as such, they've proven that they can take it to the likes of Coander in the same vehicle, the likes of Klaus Kivikas, the likes of Renz Broekman and Marcus Lenderman. They can beat on occasion. So there is a lot that they can do. But up and down this field, there are teams here who are hoping to get something out of this. Mika Melkler Jim had an opportunity, lost it. But I don't think many drivers were thinking about the conditions. But what about Morgan Moran, though? A driver that I think right now here, Connery, is going to be on everyone's shopping list.
Yeah, I think so too. Coming from FSR and going second place twice to Bonohuis, and well, that is a very good accomplishment. Perhaps the only better accomplishment is winning that championship in terms of that series. But yeah, whoever can get Morgan Morand, it will be very, very happy indeed, because he's shown he's got the pace here. May need a little bit more adjusting to the way iRacing works here to get himself on the pace with the guys higher up. But if he can do that, he will be such a commodity.
He certainly will. And you talk about likes of Jerome Kvakel, of course, a champion in his own right, coming over. He's going to try and go for the Road to Pro qualifying himself. And it's always going to be about who decides to move the needle that little bit more. Bono House made the jump and stated his intention with Team Redline. I think a lot more drivers are looking at this thinking they've got these opportunities that go through. You talk about that Road to Pro, that will always be very difficult to get through. Of course, Blancpain qualification, I know a lot of drivers who are looking to try and make that their fortress. And a lot of drivers who maybe a year ago you hadn't really heard of, you hadn't heard in the last 6 months, they're coming back into play. They want to make it. This is such an exciting time. And of course, Petit Le Mans always throws up a surprise.
Yeah, remember, we've got Petit Le Mans tomorrow, and also another broadcast you're working on, Jake, the world's fastest gamer round 3 from Monza as well. And that will be an absolutely brilliant race indeed. But I think that is all we have time for here on Friday Night Primetime Racesport TV, streaming live on iRacing Live. Couple of thanks before we head out. TV camera pack by Esteban Ballo, overlay design by Anduin Design, and the person who animated those lovely graphics is Simon Grossman. I've been Connery Maddock. With me today has been Jake Sperry. We will see you guys for a bumper race weekend tomorrow.